The reading this morning is from the Song of Songs, and it is subtitled Springtime Rhapsody. The voice of my beloved, look, he comes, leaping upon the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing in at the windows, looking through the lattice. My beloved speaks and says to me, arise, my fair one, my love, and come away. For now the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth, the time of singing has come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. The fig tree puts forth its figs, and the vines are in blossom, they give forth fragrance. Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. O my dove, in the clefts of the rock, in the covert of the cliff, let me see your face, let me hear your voice. For your voice is sweet, and your face is lovely. Catch us the foxes, the little foxes, that ruin the vineyards, for our vineyards are in blossom.
Good morning. Woo! A lot happening today. Thanks everybody for rushing around and helping me find Juniper. She is very much in her body and not worried about anything in the world, and she loves hiding in my office. I should have thought there. I was like down the street. But thanks for jumping your bodies up and helping to find. And Natalie, thank you for kind of regrounding us. That was phenomenal. That was so perfect. Yeah. I mean, that and then the raspberries. I'm feeling present. I hope y'all are feeling present and in your bodies and here now today. That scripture awesome. That scripture also was awesome. Really powerful. All month long we've been reading from the Song of Songs, which is this erotic love poem found in the middle of the Bible. It is full of sensuous imagery, of sweetness, of taste, of touch, of sight, of sound. And it ends with this one little line that I'd never really noticed before until really concentrating on it this month, which is that line about the little foxes. Don't let the little foxes ruin the vineyard, because our vineyard is in blossom. And I was trying to figure out what that meant. I don't know what the author intended, but the Bible isn't always about what did the author intend. It is, it's okay to bring yourself and your experience and your context and your questions into it. And what I found when I did that was the little foxes are those things that take us away from our bodies, that take us away from love, from passion, from embodiment, from liberated and healthy sexuality, from sensuality, from these avenues that are in fact pathways into God. And we've talked about some of those little foxes, the things that take us away from that this month. The first Sunday we talked about embodiment and how this idea, this hyper-spiritualized idea of Jesus and his mission as entirely about like liberating captive spirits and liberating captive emotions, and yes to all that, but also to liberating captive bodies who are physically oppressed, politically oppressed, economically oppressed, and literally captive. And how this hyper kind of spiritualization of the tradition of Jesus has been a detriment to living and celebrating bodies as sacred, that they matter. That's not just about souls, it's also about our bodies. We talked last week about how what if we read the Garden of Eden story where, in a different way, where our downfall is not disobedience and pride and thinking we're better than the rules, but our downfall is in not believing that we were made good, that we were made enough, that we had enough, that we were okay. It was believing the snake who said, you don't have enough, you have to eat from that tree and then you'll be better. So that the original sin, our downfall, is not pride, it is shame. And how so much that shame is tied to sexual shame, because sexuality is a place where spirituality, where spirit and bodies come together in a really profound and deep and close way to us. And I think another one of the foxes is disbelieving that our senses and our life experience has value when it comes to our spirituality in particular. How both the conservative church and the liberal church, in many ways, is all about getting away from our bodies and getting into our minds and really understanding the right thing. And if you get it right in your brain, if you have the answers, if you get the right theology, if you have the right knowledge, then everything will sort of make sense. But it's all up here, and it's not all in here. And it takes us away from that. And so that's why sometimes I call Valley and Mountain not a liberal church, or even a progressive church, but a mystical church. And mystics are people who want to experience God, who don't just think of God as this kind of concept or this man in the sky with the white face and the beard and the whole Zeus thing, but God as an experience to be dived into, to be embraced, that is actually happening all around us all of the time. And so in my prayers, I've tried to move away from Spirit of God, come and be with us, to Spirit, awaken me to the fact that you are already here. So when we get totally into our bodies is when we get to unlock that reality, and we begin to realize that we can experience God in dance, in song, and art, and physical activity, and playing sports, and sitting entirely still, in different ways of prayer. I want to teach you. Everybody knows this way of prayer. You kind of put your hands together. Can you do this with me for a second? But there's another way to do this, and Pastor Emily taught me this. It's to rub the hands together as you pray. And you begin to feel your own hands. You begin to feel heat and energy in your body. And it really helps me get back into myself, where I am. So earlier this month, I got to share a story about when somebody asked me, when have you experienced God? And so that was a profound question for me. And today, instead of a whole reflection, this is it. What I just said, that's the intro. The reflection time is for all of us, or for some of us, because there's not enough time. But for those of us who feel so led to speak, to share about when is a time that your senses have been a highway into the divine, into spirit, into God. Not that took you away from this world and yourself, but that brought you into a realization of a greater reality, where transcendence and immanence were brought together. When have you had that, if you've had that kind of experience? It might be sitting around a campfire, it might be sitting at a piano, it might be bungee jumping, it might be, watching a child whistle. I don't know. Children can't whistle. I don't know why. I've never heard a child whistle. Have you? I used to whistle. I was a child. Okay. Well, yeah. Watching Laura Ellen as a child whistle. Other children. My children can't whistle. So whatever it is that enables you to really experience something greater than yourself through your senses and through your body. It's also a chance. I just wanted to open it up to talking about what are those foxes. Maybe you've had one of those experiences, but there are things in your life, obstacles that have made it a challenge for you to integrate your body and your spirit and your mind and all those things together. And this is a place for us to just share about that too. In the interest of time, we've got a timekeeper. We're asking everybody to first read the sort of the community-like guidelines, which is share the air. So we're asking people to keep their stories about 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, Laura's going to ring a little singing bowl to give you kind of a sense that you have a 1 minute warning. And then we're ringing it a couple times at 3 minutes. That'll give us enough time to hear multiple voices today. Please speak about your own personal experience rather than kind of challenging the person before you. Avoid fixing and solicit advice. Please stick to the topic. Practice grace. And if something hurts, you can say, ouch. This is a practice we try to do sometimes. That lets us know that there's maybe something that needs to be addressed. Sometimes we can say things and it's our experience, but it doesn't match with somebody and it can really hurt. You can say, ouch. And then we know there's something to be addressed. So your questions are here. When have you experienced God through your senses? And what are the foxes that have ruined the vineyard? Now, before you go, or before you stay, please receive this benediction. May the Spirit of God well up within you. May you become awake to your senses. May you embrace throughout this day and throughout this week all of the little blessings and opportunities to grow closer to yourself, to the Great Spirit, and to those around you. Go in peace. Amen.